Hello, this is a video trip report for the Illinois between 1700 and 1300 CFS. And the reason I do this is to share some beta and information for those of you thinking of running the Illinois River. Some people get really mad at me for doing this because it's sharing too much information about this special place and that people should have to go into this and figure it out. And I don't know, I think I disagree. I think that the river is difficult enough to catch and the rapids are difficult enough to where it's not for most people. This isn't a run that most boaters can do, and you definitely need like class 5 skills to do it, and timing it is really hard. You just kind of have to get lucky with flows. So anyway, the whole point of this is to just share some beta that I have and some information and video that I took. We've gone through the Panther Creek Rapids. These are the Labrador Creek Rapids. I kind of fast forwarded through a bunch of this because I've shared these rapids in different videos. They're not the most exciting. They're awesome rapids, but they're not that complicated and not worth us kind of picking apart. So I'm just fast forwarding through these, and you can see these in other videos I've done. Next up is Gnome Creek Rapid, and this is a sweet little rapid. You see Gnome Creek on the left if you look there in the GoPro footage. I don't normally GoPro this one in my videos. I'm not sure why, but this time I did. I love this rapid. There's a really cool movie saw. I did a downstream ferry at the top, and then just kind of some big waves and big fun as you come through here. And just below here, actually, if you go down, it's not going to be in the video, but just down from here on the right, there's some really cool pitcher plants or Darlingtonia worth checking out, along with butterwort, which is another carnivorous plant. But down that straightaway right there, there's a really cool waterfall on the right worth checking out. Next up is Rocky Top. A lot of people think this is the most dangerous rapid on the river because that big rock right in the middle is undercut. It's pretty easy to miss. I like these like technical right lines. There's a line even more to the right when the water's a little higher, but I'm taking kind of this middle right line right now. You can also go left of Rocky Top. There's a few lines here, just I think being conservative here, and as the water drops, it gets a little tighter, it gets a little more difficult. I haven't seen the undercut part of Rocky Top personally. I just heard about it, and so I'm super conservative here and try to stay pretty far right. Pretty soon after Rocky Top is York Creek. York Creek just came in from the right. It's kind of hard to notice because you're looking downstream at the rapid and you don't see the creek come in, but a beautiful creek. A lot of cool entrance here. There's a lot of people get stuck in these rocks or make a mistake here early on. But the goal for me is to just kind of slow my momentum so I don't slam into this wall. And then now I start making my way to the right. It all flows pretty much. I try to make my way to the right here in this first drop because there is kind of a nasty hole here on the left. And so I try to be really conservative, avoid these holes here, that one, and that one. And below here is generally just like wave trains and stuff. Of course, flow dependent. At this flow, you'll see it's pretty straightforward. This rapid we call the GOAT. We used to call this wall banger number 1, but it's called rapid number 23 in the book. So we call it the GOAT. That's just what we call it. You can call it whatever you want. Again, wall banger I think is a good term because it wants to shove you into this wall on the left. But probably the most official name there is just rapid number 23. And you could flip on that left wall. So you can see I'm pushing really hard to go right at this flow. There's the wall right there. And so even if I'm trying hard to get right, I get kind of close to it. Boats can flip on that wall. It's kind of nasty. And so it also leads, you can see, right into Clear Creek Rapid, which I think is one of the most underrated rapids on the Illinois. If you look downstream down there, you'll see water coming down the wall. It's out of the frame now, but it was just in the frame. It's Clear Creek cascading down the rock. It's super cool. And generally, the line here is going to be, at this flow, it's going to be just stay right, get right, and stay right. Because there's a pretty beefy hole on the left. It does flip boats. It's a nasty pour-over hole. And so at this flow, I'm pretty sure I just go right. I can't actually remember, so we're about to find out. But I'm pretty sure I can just kind of stay on the right side. At some flows, you have to start right and then cut back left here. Yeah, I go right the whole way here. You have to cut back left above that rock I just passed because this right side closes out. But at this flow, it's not a big deal. And pretty fun, actually. Pretty fun line down the right side. As long as you know we're going in Clear Creek, it should be fine. But again, at lower waters, it gets hard. I mean, lower water levels, it gets hard. Rapid number 29 is one of my favorites. There's an easy move down the left. It's no big deal, but this really cool narrow slot opens. I love this kind of boating, so I generally try to take this slot through here. It's just a good, fun time. Got to ship your oars. And you can catch this eddy, and there's a sweet place to surf right here. And so depending on the flow, sometimes I'll surf my oar boat. If I have a paddle boat with oars, I like to get just like this. This is one of our guides taking the paddle boat in and surfing this nice little pour over hole. This is just good, clean fun. It could flip a boat. So you can see they kind of got whipped around there, but so you want to be careful. And a pretty common camp the first night is Pine Flat. This is a massive camp. A lot of people love this camp. There's camps on the left and camps on the right. On the right, there's access to the Illinois River Trail. There's a trail from Pine Flat up to the Illinois River Trail. So if you like to hike, camping on the right is a really good idea. But yeah, this is just a wonderful camp that I would recommend people stay at because it's really big and there's room for several groups to share this one camp. Between Pine Flat and Prelude or Greenwall, there's, it's like 10-ish miles. There's not that much whitewater, but this is one of the rapids, rapid number 51. You kind of get used to like class 2, 3, and this one kind of you slowly meander into. So it can be problematic because you're not used to rapids by the time you get here. But there's that little entrance thing right there, and I feel like every time I have to boat scout this because it changes a lot due to flows. There's some pretty big holes depending on the level, and there's some really nasty rocks too. So anyway, this one's worth just paying attention to when you're heading down. Pretty straightforward, but can, like I said, can cause some problems. And then after South Bend comes the harder rapids, is the beginning, Fawn Falls. This is also called Prelude. In all the books, this was historically called Prelude. In the handbook to the Illinois River Canyon, they named it Fawn Falls. There's a really cool story. So this has two names. Some people call the entrance of Greenwall Prelude, and that's just, I think it's just wrong. That people just got confused and spread that word. Anyway, there's several lines here depending on the flows. I personally love this left channel. Sort of like rapid number 29. I love like slowly positioning myself above something and then shipping and going down channels like this. This is just fun to me. It's a little, that's a 16-foot gearboat. I get tossed around a little bit. And so I think I signal the paddle boats to go more on the right side, which is a little bit more forgiving at this level. But for a gearboat, that left side is pretty nice. And soon after Prelude or Fawn Falls is Greenwall, which is the biggest rapid on the run, the pretty famous one. And like I said, some people call the top of Greenwall Prelude, like technically I'm in Prelude, but that's just incorrect. That became what people call it, and they just are confused, I believe. But this is all Greenwall. And so the entrance here is the entrance. I have a line I love taking through here just to set yourself up really well. I think most people focus on the hard stuff downstream and forget about what to do up here. I think a lot of problems start up here. And there's two hazards. One, there's a hole in the middle. I'm going pretty far left here. There's a hole I'm about to pass, and there's a wall on the right. You can kind of see it there, I think. You can kind of see it on the right there. The boats get pushed up onto and flip or have problems. So usually once I'm here, like I'm pretty happy. Like I feel like I want to be calm at this point. My main goal in Greenwall is to be calm and relaxed, have oars in my hand at this point. And there's a lot of different lines through here at this flow. This is the line I'm enjoying. Kind of have to go up next to this rock, go down here. You want to dump momentum. You don't want to come plowing through here, so I'm pulling on the oars and get back to the right so you don't get stuck on those rocks. A lot of people get stuck on those rocks, which isn't a big deal. It happens. But if you can get back right, that's super awesome. And then now I just take a deep breath, and I'm going to try to push left this bottom part here so I don't go into the hole in the middle or smack the big wall down there on the right. So my goal is to kind of point left, push left, and then kind of get free of everything. Once you've successfully navigated Greenwall, now you get to contend with Little Greenwall. And it's pretty commonly known that Little Green Wall causes more problems than the Green Wall. Green Wall, you scout, you're ready for, you're amped. If you do well in Green Wall, you're pretty cocky by the time you get here, and you feel like you can do anything. And this rapid is just kind of a mess. It's tricky. The entrance is tricky. My goal in here right now is like stay calm, don't wear myself out, make it through these channels. There's several ways to do this. I chose one of them. And down here, there's this narrow channel with a hole in it that can send you into a rock, and you end up going right or left of the rock. The goal is to go through this channel right here, and then get left of the rock. And I do a terrible job here. I think I'm gonna make it by pulling and surfing over, but I don't make it. I hit the rock, and it takes me into this channel. And people call this the birth canal. It's not a fun place to take an oarboat. And I broached sideways. This is my most proud moment. But the key is just being calm and not letting the boat flip. If that tube on the left catches water, it can flip here real fast. And so I'm just hoping things kind of like move around and unfold and potentially lean to the right if that tube starts catching water. And luckily things kind of evolve and turn out nicely, but this channel is pretty bad. At this flow, it's not that big of a deal, but if you were at like 1,200, 1,000, you know, a big boat wouldn't really get in here. A big boat wouldn't really do well in that right channel. So this is another 16-foot gearboat. This is one of my guides, Connor, who has a great run here. Right now he's in that entrance part where you just kind of make your way through. And normally I try not to run this left side where he goes. It's a really steep drop right there and can be a little violent. But he does, which it looks like is the line today, kind of goes over this steep drop right there, is able to get that ferry and then make it across, kind of rides up on the rock. It's not the cleanest line, but it goes. He didn't go to the right like I did, which wasn't the most pleasant thing. Below Little Green Wall is a really fun section of rapids, starting with rapid number 98 here. And rapid number 98 has two big boulders. There's 3 lines. I like the center line. You can kind of go wherever you want depending on what's going on, but it just kind of goes. Below here, it's either the current or class 2 or class 3. It's kind of nonstop, like easy to hard 3 for a while, which just makes it really pleasant. And of course, the scenery through here is stunning. I love this part of the river because I'm not nervous. I'm happy. I've made it past Little Green Wall and just really taking in the Illinois, which again, as you can see, is a special place. This rapid we call Sweeney Todd. It's really hard at low water. At these higher flows, it's not too bad, although there are some sticky holes and some things going on. So I'm pretty conservative here in good old Sweeney Todd. Another really fun one's rapid number 103. This one just is kind of wild. Yeah, I can't even give you advice how to run this because there's swirly water, boily water, there's rock down here you have to miss. Gotta kind of make it up every time, and at different flows it looks wildly different. After that is Holy Pulley. In some other videos I've done recently, I've taken the left line. This right line is really sweet, like mildly terrifying at that exact moment because you're not sure you're gonna make it. But that right line I really like just a little bit. It goes. You're just gonna always be like a little nervous when you're going through there. And then just some holes down here and things to avoid that are fun. And there's a few more rapids below Holy Pulley, and then we get to one of the bigger, more famous ones, which is Submarine Hole. And you know, this one has so many different hazards and problems, and they all depend on the water level. So this is just a way to run it. I really started pushing this one, like getting here and just pointing my boat to the left, and I kind of get a piece of this hole right here, which serves me for the left, which is great, but I gotta do a little spin. But I found that if you kind of point in Submarine Hole, it takes you to the left, and you miss kind of that big hole on the right, and then of course there's the wall on the left. There's all kinds of stuff in Submarine Hole. It's worth scouting if you haven't been there much. This is, I would say, one of the big 3, along with Green Wall and Little Green Wall. And yeah, that's the big rapids on the run. We camped another night below here, and as always, like, just fell in love with this place. Once again, it's really special.